everyone, welcome to our program. Today we are very pleased to have Mr. Michael Rockel to be our guest. Mr. Rockel is the head of Greater China Sales and Marketing, LANXESS High Performance Materials Business Unit. He is also the General Manager of LANXESS in Wuxi, China. Hi, Mr. Rockel. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, I'm very happy to join you today.
First of all, I would like to talk about the challenges we faced this year. As we know, the year 2020 has been very challenging to all of us. Are there any impacts on LANXESS business and on the field of specialty chemicals as a whole?
I mean, like for everybody, we had a very tough start after the Chinese New Year with a lot of regulations and issues that we were facing in the early stage of the corona epidemic. We worked very hard with the authorities to get our factories restarted. We had to work on re-establishing supply chains, to work with our logistic partners. So the March and April was a very difficult time to get the business running and to get the business running safely. I can mostly speak for the automotive and engineering plastics business, and there we've actually had a rather good start, better than expected, and we were overwhelmed by strong demand for engineering plastics starting April and May, and we see now a very strong recovery going into the second half of the year, driven by the automotive industry. So it was a rough start, but I think after overcoming the difficulty in the first 2 months, the economy started recovering quite quickly. And if you look on a broader picture, I think LANXESS is positioned in a number of markets, and therefore also our products in the disinfectant business, for example, our Virkon product, who was used to disinfect and was applicable against the virus, and many different business segments that we were in helped us to balance the portfolio and not be as severely impacted as other marketplaces.
Mm-hmm. So apart from what you have just told us about the products, are there any other actions that LANXESS has taken to try to minimize the negative impacts?
In the actual Corona challenge, we have formed a crisis team quite quickly. We have put all measures in place to protect the employees and secure the supply chains. And I think the ownership and the speed that we applied in the early stage really helped us to start our operations at the factories quite soon. Yeah, I know that our colleagues in the logistics departments worked overtime to secure vessels from Europe to Asia and also domestically to ship to our customers in time. What we see is COVID has changed the game completely. Yeah, we see more digitalization. We see now in Europe big subsidies for electric vehicles. So I would like to bring that example of new mobility, because the European Union is strongly subsidizing electric vehicles. And we have been focusing on this market, and China has already started earlier, but we see a breakthrough, a shift towards new mobility, an application where we were very strongly positioned, and we believe will really make the world a better place by bringing sustainable mobility. Yeah, so I think COVID has changed the game and has accelerated the process and progress in the industries to adapt and change to new things.
So how did LANXESS react to all these new opportunities?
I mean, one thing which we have all seen is digitalization. Everybody is now used to using WeChat calls and Zoom calls and operate remotely. For the last several years, LANXESS had a big digitalization initiative, which we use to operate our production, to do preventive maintenance, to analyze big data. So we're using digitalization to support our business decisions. We also have used this opportunity or the challenge that we couldn't participate in a CHINAPLAS physically in this year to move it into a LANXESS virtual day, which is going to be taking place in mid-September, where we're going to be reaching out to our customers on an electronic channel with video conferences to introduce our company, our product portfolio. So I think we also adjust to the change by going digital, by going into new directions, and by, as a company, being quite quick in adjusting to new things. Yeah, we're adjusting to new solutions, but also to new products and applications. I think one is, of course, the electronic part, is the adjustability, but the other one is also having the right solutions. Yeah, I can just bring 5G technology as one key technology that's been developed. We have a good product portfolio that can be used to make electronic sensors and housings and components for the new 5G electrification of the mobile communications. So we have, I think, the portfolio, but also the speed to adjust to those new developments. And if you stay with new mobility, we have the electric mobility. But the electric mobility is battery-based, but also fuel cell-based. That's the next generation, when you use hydrogen to even have a better carbon footprint. And for this also we have solutions in place, for example, for the tank inner liners, to be the first to participate in those new industries.
And how about eco-friendly products? I can see that LANXESS has increasingly used eco-friendly elements in its products. Would you think that sustainability and circular economy will become the main focus for future innovations?
Absolutely. I mean, we see that. LANXESS believes in sustainable products. I think the circular economy is important for us, but we also don't want to compete with food resources. Yeah? So the intention is not to use corn and usable food sources to make plastics. We try to use recyclable sources to make our contribution. In our case, we use, for example, recycled PET bottle chips in our plastic production to have green products which ultimately make it into home appliances. So this is one example how we try to use recycled materials in our production to save our carbon footprint. We are more in a vehicle application where we make this vehicle lighter, so we save weight. And if you think about a fuel-driven vehicle, if it's another 5 kilos more or less accelerating and braking over its lifetime, there is a substantial reduction in emissions that our solutions can lead to. So we look also in this direction how our products can contribute to a better overall carbon footprint.
So looking ahead in the coming 2 to 3 years, which industries do you think would enjoy better growth and which industries may face a bit more difficulties?
I mean, you see a lot of initiatives from the Chinese government to stimulate the economy, and we see already some signs of this reflect in the market. One example for my side is the truck industry. Yeah, there's a lot of subsidies going into road building, construction to drive the economy forward. And we see strong development on the truck side. Just for an example, from January to August, the automotive car production dropped by almost 18%, whereas the truck production grew by 16%. So we have aimed at this area already for quite a while, and we have a strong footprint in the truck application, in the engine part, to replace metal and heavier components to make trucks lighter and to benefit from this boost. The second thing we see is digitalization, 5G and electric solutions. For this we have a broad product portfolio to support electromagnetic shielding, isolation of parts against radar, transmission or not transmissibility. This is another area, and the third area, which I believe is the field of new mobility, be it in the battery-driven and in the fuel cell-driven area. And for this, LANXESS has recently also announced a board initiative, New Mobility, to combine not only our engineering plastics, but other businesses that can produce chemicals to bring an overall solution at this attractive growing field. Yeah, so I believe truck and bus, new mobility, and also the electronics 5G industry will be growing strongly. I believe some export-driven electronics businesses, maybe household appliances, will be a little bit slower, dependent also on the recovery of COVID in export markets overseas, where the market still is currently very challenging. So I believe these export-driven markets will take some more time to recover.
So, as you have just mentioned, the Chinese government has initiated some plans to improve the economy. In your opinion, how would such initiatives benefit the plastics industry as a whole? And what else can be done to have better results?
I mean, if you look back in 2007 and 2008, after the economic crisis, China has put a lot of stimulus in place to promote the automotive industry. And the automotive production has gone up very sharply. I think to a certain extent this has overheated the market. So that's why I'm happy to see that China is doing a stimulus, but not a stimulus that is overheating markets unnecessarily. One example is in the new mobility. The subsidies from the government now are linked to the range of the car's battery, to the performance, and not just given to every car. So I think it's good that the subsidies that are done are spread evenly, and that they're linked to quality and performance objectives, and not just to boost the economy, which might not be as sustainable. So that's what I feel, that the recent activities from the government will lead to a more sustainable growth, but not to an overheated growth. And if you look at Western countries in the world, they have 4 or 5 car makers. China has more than 100 car makers in the conventional industry, and several hundred car makers that are registered for new mobility. I think this is also a challenge for the market. There's no big champion who can develop, innovate and grow, but it's more a competitive environment. So going forward, I believe and I hope that this market will consolidate, have good champions that take their responsibility serious to make good cars and good products, supported by a favorable policy also from the government.
That's great. So thank you very much for your comments and your sharing today, Mr. Rockel. I hope all goes well with you and LANXESS, and that we can meet each other in person very soon in one of our plastics industry events. Bye-bye.
I would look forward to that.